folks in the public school system, big city districts, such jackassery grab ass going on. I mean, the administrators, the superintendents, the people who have no idea how to fix anything. They're so ignorant of the impact of their idiocy that for a dozen years or so, I just started to lose the majority of my trust in people. Like, why are you in this profession? I'll give you some examples because I know that I seem to be going on some weird tangent, but this is where it really started to bother me. I'll never forget the time I had an interview at a Montessori school. Now, a Montessori school is a crapshoot. You never know whether one school is going to be as good as another. So I didn't know what to expect. But that's okay. You know, I prepared as much as I could, had the nice suit and everything, went there as best as I could, presented, ready to go, had the fancy looking resumes. And you know what these fools told me? They told me the job wasn't available anymore after I showed up. And then they offered me half the salary of that job for this part-time position of which I had no knowledge, no interest, no questions. So I just went home. But that's nothing. So imagine you finally get a full-time job and you realize that your report cards have been altered slightly in some computer system the morning that they were going to be sent out to the parents, just so certain students would make it to the basketball team with a fake C- average and they wouldn't be cut. Imagine that you're told that you have to convince a group of 7th graders who trust you that there's going to be a really important standardized test coming in April. You've got to pass this thing. But it turns out the grades from this wonderful test won't technically matter because it's just an experimental assessment to check whether or not the school needs to buy into a new program. Imagine getting replaced by a younger teacher with no warning to the students whatsoever right before September. You know, they're expecting the happy music teacher that they've come to trust for a couple of years, and now there's this other person. That's what I know. Those are the ones that actually have a couple of teachers that know what they're doing. Can you imagine what goes on behind closed doors? I don't think you can unless you've been in it. There are 30 guardians of some type who see something wrong in that classroom. They see that the teacher isn't doing something right, for instance, or that the school has some policy that doesn't make any sense. And the first thing I often will notice is that the parent will do whatever it can to make sure that his or her child, that child's going to do okay. The other 29, they're not special. This is a word that bugs me so much. This everybody's special. Everyone's special. People, listen, you don't need to give everybody a trophy, okay? You don't need to come home empty-handed and ashamed if you lose, but getting second place or third place is a good lesson to have. I remember getting second place in a math competition as a kid. I thought, wow, that means there's only 1 or 2 people in this whole building who can say that they're as good as I am. I mean, I'll do better next time, but shoot, I'm good now. I've got bragging rights. My mom's going to give me ice cream. You know, boo-hoo, I got best in the school and I didn't get district. I'm so depressed. You know, I understood where I was. I understood my rank. Why can't we just award the excellence and reward effort at the same time? Now, this is a metaphor, and it might not make a lot of sense unless you have kids, but basically, it's that thing where you probably saw that DeVos lady not know the difference between growth and proficiency. Growth is the way to go, people. You can make proficiency a part of the system, but you've got to demonstrate how far a young person has gone, and not to give some arbitrary benchmark to an entire group of people. Do you understand what No Child Left Behind has done? There are schools who have admitted, after the fact, of course, after they got the money, that what they would often do is because No Child Left Behind regulates the tests to be done at grade level no matter who you are, if you're a special needs kid, autistic, ADHD, a learning disability, you have a fourth grade reading level and you're 13, whatever your issue is, as long as you can label this student as a slow learner or as a diverse learner, you can quietly remove those test scores from the overall aggregate accounting. So after a while, folks were starting to say, well, this school's not doing very well. I mean, I'm noticing that the test scores look pretty good, but for some reason the kids aren't passing their own homework assignments. They're not doing the classwork. What's going on? Well, what we need to do is get rid of some of these teachers. So these teachers who don't know that these scores are being cut away, what happens is those teachers get cut. They don't even realize what happened because they don't know what the standardized tests scores are going to be. And nowadays, there's almost one standardized test given to every child on an average of every 2 months. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's at least 5 chances for a school to look like garbage. And that's 5 ways that a school can say, well, you did those 5, but you know, one of those 5 the kids didn't do so well, so we're gonna have to let you go. And they use that as an excuse to get rid of the veteran teachers and call them what's called displaced teachers. I know this is a bunch of jargon, and I'm sorry, but this is what's happened. What they're doing is they're making sure that the schools get more funding, but that they can bring in teachers that don't last very long, which means they don't get as many raises, which means that you can put in teachers that are willing to get lower salaries, which are younger teachers. So you constantly have this revolving door. I was at a school where there was a 33% rate of attrition. A 33% rate of teachers leaving every year and being replaced. That says something. When you have a school environment and a third of the people for whom you are told to give all this respect, admiration, this scaffolding of development toward other people from your home, you're developing to understand social situations by the examples shown in the classroom and in your neighborhood, and you go to the school and every year a third of those adults are just gone. And there's no explanation. They're not going to tell you. They're just gone. Now they're 50-year-old substitute teachers roaming around trying to make a buck. That's how they do it. And that's just in my neck of the woods. Don't even talk about New York. So, this is what we've got, people. It just pisses me off. You know, at least I admit when I'm angry and neurotic about this stuff. I go out there and say, look, I'm just trying to find something new. Yeah, I owe these kids my best. I don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm going to do something. What are you going to do? I need a special. Yeah, special's great until you realize how ill prepared the personnel at the schools are when it comes to diverse learners. Ill prepared. Sometimes they require some assistance that is more than simply a person that comes in and says, hey, Billy, I noticed you had some issues with this. Let's come over here and talk about that. You don't have time for that as a teacher, as a special needs assistant, as a liaison for the school counselor. You just don't have the time anymore. So what happens? These kids go out into the world, have no idea who the hell they are. They sit there getting sucked into all these ridiculous identity politics, social justice crap, and all these fools are giving all this stimuli to them, and they don't give any context, and then the opportunities dry up by the time they graduate, and they're stuck with the tuition bills and the student loan debt, and they don't get any retirement money when they actually get a job, if they can get a job by the time they're 30 years old. All this stupid shit. We are not planting the seeds for the new generation anymore.